Hello everyone, this is Heroes Trivia, and welcome back to day 1 of our Subscribers Game Tournament, as we continue with the Group A matches with Game 2 between Sleeping Phoenix and Odin Wrath. Now in our previous match, Odin Wrath fell to Will Be Deed. Let's see if he can bounce back here against Sleeping Phoenix. And as we load into game here, let's take a look at both sides' composition, starting with Sleeping Phoenix in the green, as he has Dong Zhuo, Zhang Jiao, and Zhang Bao. And the first thing we had to bring up is the full stack of Messenger of Heaven. These faction unique unit for Zhang Jiao are probably one of the best cavalry unit in the game. They're considered melee calves, but they use dual swords, they have excellent damage, they have double unit count, and because they are a melee cavalry, they also have 50% missile resistance. They're probably the best cavalry unit in the game, especially for multiplayer purposes. And then we also have some Protector of Heavens, definitely a top tier infantry option. Redeem Outlaws, and I believe that's a Yaoguai Hunter which has poison arrows. Excellent units all across actually. And looking back at Odin Wrath, he went with Wen Chou, Yan Baihu, and Yuan Shao. Definitely some different generals than his first match, but there's still a heavy emphasis on melee infantry, as we have 4 of the northern Saber users, as well as 4 Saber infantry for Yan Baihu. So 8 melee infantry, none of which are good against cavalry. So running up against those 6 units of Messenger of Heaven, this is going to be a bit rough. The poison used from Yan Baihu is going to be matched up decently well by the Yaoguai Hunter. So infantry versus infantry, I think it's pretty even, despite the poison volley ability from Yan Baihu, which is not good against killing generals. Wen Chou does have a roar ability, which might come in handy, but the unit quality on Sleeping Phoenix side is pretty high. I think Redeem Outlaws are probably the only one with low morale that you can take advantage of. Of course, on Odin Wrath side, every unit is probably going to fight to the death, because we do have Yuan Shao and his potential with Distant Courage if micro properly to keep him out of melee combat. And lastly, we have 4 units of ranged cavalry. Now these are decent enough cavalry units that they can fight in melee, but there's only 4 of them versus 6 units of Messenger of Heaven, which is actually equal to 12 units of standard cavalry. They also have the missile resistance we mentioned before, so I definitely favor Sleeping Phoenix in terms of the cavalry unit. It seems like Odin Wrath doesn't really like to bring polearm units. There's just not enough anti-cav, and given how strong cavalry units are overall in the game, this might be a bit rough in terms of this game. So let's hop into the battlefield and see how this played out. And looking at our deployment here, we see we have a pretty straightforward line of troops for Sleeping Phoenix. Odin Wrath has spread his units around the map actually quite a bit. So if we zoom in here, we have 2 of the Northern Veteran Saber Infantry up front in the forest. They're hiding. Most of the units are hidden. Yan Baihu is stock enabled, so all his Saber Infantry, despite not being in the forest, should be invisible at the start. So all these infantry are hidden. There is a flank of cavalry unit which is also hidden, and I believe, looking at the deployment, every unit should be hidden at the beginning. There is no sight ability from any of the generals over here, so it should be a mystery to where the units are, but when you see nobody, that also kind of eliminates some options. So right away, you only are looking at the forest, because there's nowhere else to hide, and even if you brought a stock general, such as Yan Baihu, who's the only one, that's only 1 out of 3. So when everyone's missing, it's kind of weird. If he really wanted to throw off the enemy, maybe have these cavalry units who are fast and mobile show up on the side here to kind of give the false impression that perhaps the troops were hidden in this forest to distract while the infantry advance. That could be an option. Aside from that, not too much to talk about, as these units will probably have to search out a bit before they find them. Yaoguai Hunters here with those poison arrows and snipe ability can become pretty devastating if you don't micro to them. Essentially, they want to kind of splash damage onto each unit, let the poison tick off, similar to what you want to do with your poison volley. Just hit as many units as you can. Given this layout here, maybe Yan Baihu can sneak up and hit that infantry line for maximum damage, but it's going to be hard to do with so many Messenger of Heaven kind of scouting the area and discovering the stock before he approaches. So let's see how this plays out. I doubt Odin Wrath will move. Oh, they can see. Right, they have super far sight, Yaogui Hunters. It's a hidden attribute. And we're getting barely any damage right now, but over time that poison's going to tick and you're going to see these units slowly dying off. You want to just tap each one a little bit and let that damage kind of hit every unit. It's great against infantry. Yeah, all of them going to get a little splashed here. Very good use of switching targets, as you can see. So a little bit of damage, kind of splitting the target halfway after the first half of the volley switch so they both get splash. So all these units get touched a little bit and the poison start ticking. No movement here, which is normal because he doesn't see anything. So aside from these 4 units that discovered, not much is done. This is also a very interesting tactic of not bringing a sight strategist and instead using a Yaogui Hunter to kind of scout. It's not infinite range or 5,000 range, but it's a pretty decent enough range that you can discover things before they hit you. These are going to come into vision now. Like most range cavalry, aside from a little bit of fire effect, they're not going to do much damage. These at least do decent in melee, but they're going to be running up against some very bad matchups. Like these 3 can match up against these 4 easily because there's 6 unit worth of units, and each of them are going to do 50% missile resistant. So there's no rush because the slower this goes, the more the poison ticks and the more damage that can be done. Now let's see if Yanmaihu can sneak in here, but it's going to be hard. He needs to be parallel, or he needs to be perpendicular to this parallel line. But these cavalry are going to be chasing him off if they do show up. They got 10 kills here, but there's still so many left, and they're going to go 3v4, no problem there. Yanmaihu was trying to charge in here, no response from the generals. They're just trying to get rid of some infantry here. I mean, we have a roar ability, but not really a smash ability. He needs to dismount if he wants to use hamstring for damage. We have some dismounting by Sleeping Phoenix, try to do more damage to the general, not over chasing, using the cavalry to kind of chase them away. Cavalry is king in real life and in multiplayer here. You're just much more mobile, you can chase your targets. Now, they're probably hotkeyed, which is why these 3 pulled. He probably didn't need to pull these 3. They were doing fine chasing over there. And they're still splashing damage. You see 1 kill because poison death are not counted on them. And they effectively have wiped out almost a third of these units just by splashing a bit of poison on them. And we have the Protector Heaven engaging. They should fight pretty even, favoring the Protector a little bit. Evasion's high on these units, so even though they're not melee infantry, they still get a lot of the same value. It is now a mess in here. Let's see if we can find the generals. They are still dismounted. And if we look at both sides, they're both dismounted. And we can't see who's getting focused. Oh, there we go. Ventral is getting focused because of the abilities popping up over the health. And 3v1, getting 1 killed quickly. Yanmaihu have not used his poison volley at all. And it seems like he's going to be stuck here. He's not going to be able to pull that off as well. Disencourage coming on and off, but the damage getting on. A lot of swarming infantry here. And Yanmaihu is about to go down. And Yuan Shao is going to follow suit very soon. He's also dismounted coming in. No familial conflict to boost his attack speed. He's going to get killed fairly fast. As you can see, just ignore the horse archers. They can't do much. Yep. And he is going to fall. The cavalry. Oh, we have even a flanking maneuver here. Very good micro by Sleeping Phoenix trying to get behind the infantry as that will kill them a bit faster. And we have all 3 general dying, some chain routing about to happen. That flank hit right here. And you can see that morale is going to start crashing with friendly routing currently losing. And that would do it here. Now these units might need a bit of a chase down, but they're not super fast compared to what Messenger of Heaven can reach. Look at that speed. Now, a lot of that is just because of the bonuses from the generals. But with this type of speed and price, Messenger of Heaven is definitely very, very strong. Their damage are not high, but they basically just swarm you with numbers. And I have a theory that they might serve okay as the infantry as well, because their attack speed's kind of low. So on horseback, they do the charge damage, which is nice. Afterwards, maybe even dismounting as infantry might work for them, given that dual sword animations are really good in the game. Just cleaning up now. Just pick off 1 or 2 and let army loss take care of the rest. You can see the fire morale effect. That's really what you want fire for. And when you bring fire units, you might light up something nearby, and that might hurt yourself as well, which is the case here. And the poison under fire. A little bit of chase down here, and it's all over. So I think there's a couple aspects to this match here. We can talk about this as it's over, because it pretty much is. The way the generals were used, picking Yen Bai Hu, picking stock, not using poison volley, definitely hurts his value. The unit choices of favoring melee infantry, it's not really going to help you when you run into an all cav comp. So we got to surrender here. Those messengers carry the day. The infantry quality also top-notch. Yaogui hunters got the spotting job done, and the generals fought together to kind of made it quick work of Ventrol. I don't know if I even saw a roar. There might have been one, but like I mentioned, there is high enough morale bonus on the side in terms of unit quality, as well as I think Zhang Jiao has ability that can boost morale if needed, essentially to neutralize that. And taking a look at how the units did, we see that the messengers are still very, very healthy. Those archers left alone pretty much didn't get to do much. They're sort of the trap unit. If you really want to go with range cav, 1 unit to harass is enough. You can see the 1 Yaogui hunter. Basically, you're just trying to annoy your opponent. Force them to send something at them. And if your opponent is smart, you would just ignore them. The infantry matchup didn't go well. A lot of them got poisoned early on. There's a debuff on the poison as well. So once they collide with the general getting killed, they're not going to perform very well there. There was also a lot of good flanking maneuvers. I think only one of the Redeem Outlaws really got a good clash. I think the Protector of Heaven was used to kind of meet the enemy front line in terms of beating them out in quality. And then the Redeem Outlaws got the flank and kind of finished the job. So that was a very quick matchup, 6 minutes, 17 seconds victory for Sleeping Phoenix. Definitely proving to be a very capable player here, first time in the tournament, and we look forward to seeing more matches later. So until then, bye!